They're at the start, in front of the stand, and the red flag has been unfolded and raised aloft as 6 runners prepare to do battle in His Majesty the King's Prize 2025. They're off. 4,200 metres lie ahead of them, and they don't have long to run until they meet the first fence. Last reference keenly leading them towards it. Latour at 3 is accompanying Mutadal Fek. San Pedro in the back marker, a little way adrift as they jump off, is Don Diablo, but his last reference who led them over the first. From Latour with 3 is company of San Pedro and Mutadal Fek come next, with Don Diablo gaining ground all the time, turning right-handed shortly and out into the country with the contest ahead of them. Last reference leads them into the bend, which they'll take next time going the other way, having been through the figure of 8. Last reference, but not by much. Don Diablo is caught up, joins the outside of the main body of the field with Latour down the middle, and 3 is company on the rail. 3 is company, now stride for stride at the head of affairs as they run right-handed with the road to their left. They'll continue to take a right-handed route as they cut through the middle of the course and take a fence facing the crowd. Don Diablo, who's scooted round the outside of the pack from travelling last in the opening stages of the race. So Don Diablo, Natalie Mortensen heading through his company, and Henrik Enblund, the 2 Lars Åke Enström runners out front. They've relegated last reference to 3rd. Mutadal Fek still mid-division with about a length separating him from Latour and San Pedro, continuing their turn towards us. They face the crowd in race 2 on Stockholm Cup Day. Don Diablo now by a length and a half or so from 3 as company, then last reference and Mutadal Fek and Latour and San Pedro. Don Diablo over in front. Last reference gains ground with 3 as company on what will become the outside, and now it's a fairly tight turn and through the point of departure they come. Last reference finds the turn to his advantage. Don Diablo in his outer with 3 as company, then last year's winner Mutadal Fek. Latour comes next and San Pedro on the hands of Elliot Ergren. The final 3 travel in a conga. Round they go and back away from us. Don Diablo retakes the lead, leaving last reference second, but only just. The white cap of 3 is company next, with the field sticking towards the inside of the red pole separating the hurdle and chase tracks. Don Diablo rises first. Last reference and 3 is company moving round the outside. Mutadal Fek sitting pretty. Latour resting behind him, and San Pedro is last and a couple of lengths off his rivals. Natalie Mortensen shows the way into the back straight, and they race beside the train track. On towards the 8th, and Don Diablo took it ahead of 3 as company, bumpy landing, and last reference bunched up. Gap widens to Mutadal Fek on towards fence number 9, then a slight swing right-handed. Before they know it, they'll be at the 10th. Don Diablo still with the lead. 3 is companying last reference, pressing him for the lead though. Here comes the 10th. 3 is company moving round the outer. Last reference there, and the others, including San Pedro, look to have gained some ground. Remember, they have got another circuit. It doesn't involve the cross sections, but many more obstacles to come. 3 is company stolen the lead from Don Diablo, and last reference is in 3rd, now a length detached. They run beside the road, and next time they do this, it'll be as they prepare to turn towards the crowd for the closing stages of His Majesty the King's Prize. Here's the 11th. They've taken some of these fences going one way, now it's time to take them the other. 3 is company from Don Diablo, last reference, and back towards us they come. San Pedro needing rousting along, sits in about 5th at the moment on the outside of Latour, and still Mutadal Fek in the red and white stall Storis Skuggen silks, bringing up the rear as they went over fence 12. The next will be the last in a circuit's time. Still 3 is company leading them towards it in today's only chase. They're all over the next, and now jet in front of the flags and the screen, and the crowd send them on their way and one of Swedish jump racing's premier prizes. And as they pass through what will be the finish next time, it's 3 is company who shows the way. From last reference sitting second, and 3 bunched up now with Latour the Grey, San Pedro and Don Diablo's gone backwards. Gap of a length then to Mutadal Fek. Away from us they head back into the country and into the back straight shortly. Fence before that, 3 is company from last reference Latour, then Don Diablo and Mutadal Fek's made ground. Here's the 14th, and 3 is company could have taken it better, to be honest. The last reference in second with Latour and Mutadal Fek, and now San Pedro back to be the bag marker, receiving the encouragement of Elliot Ergren, who's having to work for this and trying to keep up. Another mistake from 3 is company. Last reference back in front. 3 or 4 lengths behind them now come Latour and Mutadal Fek, then Don Diablo, another few lengths to San Pedro. Gone over a fair few fences now, and not many remain in His Majesty the King's Prize. Here's the slight swing right before they face the next. Last reference leading them into it from 3 is company and Mutadal Mutadafek in Latour. Then Don Diablo and San Pedro brings up the rear. Last reference by a few lengths. Mutadafek coming under pressure on the inside. Three's Company moving sweetly on the outside, well into the bend with the road beside them. The crowd gets ready to welcome them into the home straight. Last reference doing well in front, even if Mutadafek and Three's Company just a length or two off him with Latour next. Latour's got lots of ground to make up, but not tailed off, unlike Don Diablo and San Pedro, who've been left behind, relatively speaking. Mutadafek trying to get there, but last reference is still cruising as they make the long run towards the second last, almost back home. And Mutadafek, he hasn't found enough yet. Can he keep hold of his crown in this race after last year's heroics? Mutadafek not lying down, but last reference looks too good today. The 12-year-old's done it for Kevin Barkin and Madeline Vigren. Last reference, not last, but first. In Hans Majestæts Konungens Pris, His Majesty the King's Prize, saw off Mutadafek by a couple of lengths in the end. Long gap back then to Latour, Three's Company home in fourth, then Don Diablo, and San Pedro last of the six to pass the post.